Alright guys, the next thing I'm going to do is remove this 24mm nut right here. This is going to our strut assembly. So I got 24mm, half-inch drive, get my cordless impact, and take that off. Now, this joint will not just pop right off. This is held, the joint right here is concave, so it's actually pressed on. So what you're going to have to do now is use the same method as the lower control arm and the outer tie rod. Shock and awe. You need to shock right about here, and that joint should pop right out. Now what you want to do is just put the nut on it just a little bit so it don't fly out of here. Then you want to hit right about there. And you saw that pop right out. That's good. Now continue to take the nut off and put that out of the way. And there it is. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright guys, the next thing to do, lower your jack a little bit. And your joint this will be all loose. Now, take your caliper, swing that caliper around to the other side. Next thing you're going to do is disconnect your stabilizer link. Now your stabilizer link has a 21mm nut on each side. What I'm going to do is get my 21mm, half-inch drive, get my cordless impact. Now, it's a good chance that you're going to turn this and it will not come out. It will just spin. It will just spin. So what you're going to have to do, in the center of these studs, you can put a 7mm hex socket. So you want to take your 7mm hex socket. You want to get you a 21mm wrench first. Put the wrench on the nut. Put your socket right inside there. Make sure it's in there. And you're going to be tightening. Because as you're tightening, you're holding this wrench right here on the nut, and it's going to be loosening that nut off. Alright, get that off. Take the nut off. You saw, you able to see inside there? Mm-hmm. Alright, and take that off. This thing is shot. We're going to be replacing that as well. So now we're going to go inside and get the other one out. Take my 21mm wrench. I'll try to loosen this up. Okay. Once I can feel that I got it loose. It sucks you don't have enough room in here to do something better. Take my socket, go on the other side. Take that one out. Alright, let's get that out and we'll be right back. Alright guys, now we're going to take off our lower control arm. Now to do this, your lower control arm is going to come as a whole bracket and everything. You're going to have 3 21mm bolts up under here. You're going to have one right here, 2, you can see those, Ivy?
Yes.
And over here, number 3. Now this number 3 is insert into there. You're going to get your 21mm deep. Let me get the socket on it. Right there.
Yeah, I see it.
21mm deep, half-inch drive. One, and all 3 bolts are the same length. Then over here, get these 2. Alright, got them out. We'll be right back. Alright guys, now our whole lower control arm is going to pull out of here. Now you got to take this, get this off your strut. So just get that off, get that to the side. Take your joint, see how I pull it out like that? And bam, there it is. Now, as you can see, this got slots for like an alignment. You put it when you put it back in, put it all the way in. Definitely let the customer know you gotta get in alignment, buddy. All right, so let's get our new lower control arm with our ball joint, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got our new assembly right here. You want to make sure that the one you got does say left, or the side you're working on. We got an L right here. Make sure when you're putting it in, the lower ball joint is facing down. All right, so now these bolts right here that's loose, they're loose for a reason, because when you tighten them up, the vehicle need to be at this ride height so you don't do no premature damage to those bushings. So now you can see it goes into the slot right up there. So you want to pick this up, put it into the slot. Now as you can see, it's having a little hard time right here. What you can do, just take you a hammer or a rubber mallet. Get this out of the way. You can bring that in. Alright, and once you do that, you can put your bolts, bring your bolts in, and start them off by a couple threads. Just so you can get them lined up. And where's the other one at? Alright, let's get this one right over here. Okay, those are in. Next thing you want to do, guys, take the 21mm nut off of here, and this is what I mean by how it's made concave. Notice how this end is wider than this end. So when you put that nut on there and tighten that strut bar on there, the tighter you make it, it's going to go in there and make it really tight. So we're not going to tighten none of those bolts up yet. We're going to bring this up, bring our strut around, get it into place, put our nut on it, take our 24mm and tighten that right up. Looking good, guys. Looking good. Now, tightening up those bolts in the back. Not these, the ones in the back. You want to push your lower control arm back, just like that. Push it back all the way. And then get your 21mm and tighten those up. Remember, this thing definitely has to have an alignment, because this can control your caster and camber. So let's push those back and tighten up the bolts. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright guys, the next thing we're going to do is install our new stabilizer link. So you want to take the top one, it goes in like this, or the bottom one, going like that, and you can bend the joints. I mean, these joints move, but they're kind of tight. Okay, get it like that. Put the nuts on it by a little bit, so you can make sure it's not cross-threaded. Then you want to take your 21mm 1/2" drive. I'm using my 1/2" socket. You want to just hold that in place and tighten one up. show you a little trick for that, guys. When it does that, get you a pry bar. And actually, you know what? I should have been using... Where's the DeWalt at? Sometimes you want to use something with a little speed. But if you don't have that, what you want to do, because they put a little feature there to put a wrench at, but it's like a thin area. How the heck are you supposed to get a wrench in there? So take your pry bar, put your pry bar against a strut or something, and you want to just hold it just like that while you're tightening it up. Oh man, that ain't working. Man, that sucks. Because that is not gonna... Okay, 19mm wrench, but that's gonna be hard. Okay, it worked. Good. Now for the inside one, it's hard to get to. So hopefully, I can use my short one. Get in there like that. Cool. Tighten that right up. Alright, that's great. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright guys, now we're ready to install our spindle and our new hub and upper ball joint assembly. Now, what you want to do is, your lower ball joint is right there. Grab your 24mm bolt. You want to pick it up, put it into there, and while you're holding it up, put the 24mm nut on it by a couple threads, and that's going to hold it right into place. That's good. Now you're ready to tighten that up. So grab your 24mm socket, half-inch drive, your half-inch drive impact, and what you want to do is hold the spindle up a little bit, keep a little tension on it, and then tighten that up. Make sure that thing is tight. Okay, perfect guys, we are looking good. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright guys, then you want to take your hydraulic jack with your block of wood, set it up under your lower control arm, and jack it up a little bit. Alright, then, over here, take your lower control arm, it's going to be kind of tight. Bend that down a little bit, so we can get ready to bring our joint over. You might have to bend this a little bit. Man, those things are tight. Because your upper control arm is set at an angle. And if you want to move it, just take your wrench and all. And you can, too much. Move that back. Bring your joint down. Now, you want to bring this down, and see that little concave right there, the little thing right there, that's got to line up to where the bolt goes, or you will not be able to get that bolt in there. So bring it down, and I got to bend this thing forward a little bit. Okay, when you get like that, you can take a hammer, bring it down, get your new bolt, and see right now the bolt won't go through until I had to push down on it. Then it locks it right into place. Get your nut and start it off by a couple threads. Alright, let's go to get that tightened up. We'll be right back. Alright guys, we're going to take a 15mm deep 3/8 drive, my cordless impact, and a 15mm wrench to hold this into place. And we're going to... Huh. Dang, that's not a 15. What the heck is this thing? 14? Yeah, make sure this side is a 14. No, that's a 15. And this one is a 14. So now let's tighten it up. Whoops. Let's see that thing picked up a little bit. Let me loosen it back up. Make sure that it's tight, guys, because you do not want that thing popping up out of there. Alright, we got that. We can let our jack down out of there. Then we're going to get ready to hook up our wiring, this harness. And let's get this mechanics wire out of here. Alright, be right back. Alright, guys, the next thing we're going to do, get our brand new rotor. Stick our rotor on. Then we're going to have our caliper bracket with our brake pads already installed on them. Bring that down over the... And because it's a new rotor, you might have to slide these open a little bit. Okay. Start your two 18mm bolts off by a couple threads so you don't cross thread them. Turn the wheel, turn it all the way to the side. Then we're going to go ahead and tighten those two up. Let's get our 18mm. Alright, and we're going to tighten those two up. When you tighten up, make sure the rotor is on. Alright, bring your brake pads in. Now if you want, guys, what you can do is take a lug nut or two and put it up here and keep your rotor straight so when you put your caliper on. Matter of fact, I think we will do that. Alright, so we're going to do that and then we're going to be right back. Alright guys, the next thing we're going to do, take out our two 10mm bolts right here. Bring this little bracket up with the brake hose attached to it. Bring it up. Put our bolts in there. Start them off by a couple threads so you don't cross thread it. Once you get them started, then get your 10mm deep 3/8 drive with your 3/8 drive ratchet, and you can turn this to either side. And you want to tighten them up till they stop, and then a little bit more. And I'm using a cordless ratchet, so I know when to stop on this. And you're going to turn to the other side. Now, when you're twisting this, it's going to be kind of tight to turn. That's because you got brand new stuff there. That's how it's supposed to be. Alright, bring this one right here. Great, guys. Great. So far, everything is good. Now, let's get our harness for our wheel speed sensor. The first one goes right over here to this clip. So we got to bring that around. Stick it right through there. That's into place. Let's turn it. The second one comes up, goes right to there. Push that in there, just like that. Alright, the next one, there's going to be a slot opening on the upper control arm. You're just going to push that up into there, just like that. The next one hooks right into here. Actually, that should have hooked in here. There should be another one someplace. Oh, wait a minute. Hey, this is what kind of thing is this, man? This thing sucks. This thing ain't supposed to come back out like that. You know, customer get these parts, man. You don't know what the heck they getting. I gotta sit here and try to open this up to get that to stay. And I'm gonna stab myself in the meantime. That ain't gonna stay. I don't know who I'm kidding. Son of a... That's the best it's gonna get. Let's clip that back up in there into place. Where the heck is it? There it is. That ain't stayed too well. Now there's gotta be supposed to be a hole somewhere around here for the other one, because this one goes right here. Connect that. Now we gotta find out where this one, unless we know this. Don't go right there. Where the heck this one? Hold on, let me get out of here for a minute. Alright, there it is, up there. On the frame. Way up there. Okay, then it comes around and hooks right into there. This thing still came out wrong. Alright, we'll be right back. Guys, the next thing we'll do is put our caliper on. Now, because we got new rotors up here, the rotors are kind of thick. So your caliper is not going to go on there so easy. So what you're going to do is take the cap off to the master cylinder. Take one of your brake pads out of here. Put your brake pads in. Put the part that's going up against the rotor, put that up against here, because you don't want to damage it by using the C-clamp. Take your C-clamp. Put it on there. And then turn it to squeeze those pistons in. And it's going to be so when you tighten up this side, you're going to get to a point where it's going to stop, keep on going, and then it's going to automatically squeeze that side into place. Okay? Loosen them up, take it off, slide your brake pad back into place, take your bolts out to the caliper, bring your caliper over and down. Get our bolts in there, start your bolts off by a couple threads to make sure it's not cross-threaded. And then let's get ready to tighten them up. We'll be right back. Alright guys, next you're going to do, take your 13mm deep, 3/8 drive, get your cordless impact, and tighten up the two bolts. Alright, put the cap back onto the master cylinder. Get your mechanics wire out of there. Turn your spindle assembly all to the straight, whatever you want. Turn it to the right. Take your two lugs off. And then let's get ready to put our outer tie rod back up. Alright? We'll be right back. Alright guys, let's take our outer tie rod. Put it up into the spindle. Put our 21mm nut on it. Get your 21mm deep, 1/2" drive. Hold up on the joint and tighten that nut up. Alright guys, we are not done yet. We got one more thing to do, and that's to tighten up the 2 bolts, the nut and the bolt in the back. All right, so first, now we got, again, as I said before, we got to tighten that up when the vehicle's at its ride height. So you already got your jack up under the lower ball joint, or under the lower control arm. What you want to do is jack it up, and you want to keep jacking it up until you got your jack stand right there. Jack it up just till that frame picks off that jack stand. So tell me what it does, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Alright guys, so now you are at your ride height, which means if the tire was on it, this is exactly how it was set up. Alright, now we're going to tighten those up. What you're going to need is an 18mm wrench, if I got one here. Your 18mm wrench is going to hold on the bolt on the outside. Then you're going to need, let me get my tools together, guys. I'll be right back. Alright guys, then you want to take your 21mm deep. Then you want to take your 1/2 inch swivel extension and about a 1-foot long 1/2 inch drive extension. And get your cordless ratchet, cordless gun. And what you want to do is you want to go between the lower control arm, just like that. Hold your wrench and tighten up that bolt. Then switch up, put your wrench on this side, now you're going to go from this side and tighten up the other bolt. Take the other nut. Perfect, guys. Alright, let your jack down, and then grab your grease gun, and you want to grease this joint and the 2 joints on the stabilizer link. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright guys, ready to tighten up our tire. Now you want to make sure you don't tighten up the tire 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You want to tighten it up in a cross pattern. First you want to bring one in, just to keep it steady. Go right across from it, tighten that up. Go across, tighten that up. Then go to the next one. Go across from that. Tighten that up. Tighten that up. And the last one. Then put your center cap. Ooh man, look how good it look at it, guys. Look how good that looks. Yeah, buddy, that looks good. Yeah, boy, this thing going around like a new truck. Alright guys, let's throw our center cap on and we are done.